Hi guys, my name is Cesar Villegas, and today I will be conducting my informative speech. Now, one of the things I would like to ask you guys is when someone mentions an endangered language, uh, what do you guys think? Maybe you guys think something that like happened years ago, or a language that was spoken hundreds of years ago and was endangered or extinct because another society took over it. But really, endangered languages are a common thing now, and they do become extinct one language every 2 weeks, which is really a lot of languages a year. And although there are still many languages out there, there are still also many languages that are becoming extinct. Now, for example, for us that we live here in El Paso, Texas, most of us are bilingual. Most of us have seen people speak mostly just English and Spanish, but we also see one thing, which is how English is taking over, and how people really just use English for most more things like work, school, or even their social life. For example, me, I grew up here in El Paso. I uh, I grew up speaking Spanish as my first language, and in middle school and high school, I learned English, and I began to use English more as a main language, and for work, school, even my social life, I began to use that language, and that puts me in the list of people who have been through a language shift, and we'll go through that more in detail, and you guys will understand what language shift is, and you guys will understand the characteristics of a language shift. So for today, I'm gonna go over three main things, which are why languages die, uh, how can what helps linguists can determine when a language is becoming extinct, and how other languages have helped save languages, and the characteristics between the two languages that I've chosen for today, which are the Yakan and the Balo language. So the language is pretty much when people put aside a language. For example, you guys will see that here in El Paso a lot, how people put Spanish off to the side and use English more as a main language, and pretty much everywhere, even in their personal life, and just when typing things on their phone. A good example of a language shift is, for example, the Mayans, and they were conquered by the Spanish people hundreds of years ago, but they still shifted languages from, of course, their own language from the Mayan language the to the Spanish language, and through time they've been having less and less speakers now. And for example, now when you go, for example, to Quintana Roo, or the state in Mexico where most of the Mayan places are located, you'll see that the only people that speak the Mayan language are really the elder people of that society, because the younger people mostly speak other languages that are known more around the world, just like Spanish, English, or French, or German. They rather speak those languages because they help them more in really their personal life and in work. Now, the two languages that I'm gonna go over today are the Yakan language, which originated in Ushuaia, Argentina, and what is called the Land of Fire, and also the Valo language, which only has one fluent speaking member left, and it is located in Motalava, Vanuatu, off the west coast of Australia, a small group of islands. Now, for example, linguists examine languages all the time, which is pretty much all they do. One of the things that helps them is really just the index of linguistic diversity, and that helps them pretty much see everything together and put everything together, because it takes everything about language, the population rates, words spoken, the characteristics of the language, and also how often the language has been spoken, and how long the language has been spoken too. And through one of the people that wrote Global Distribution of Drivers of Language Extinction Risk is linguist Brody Sandel, and part of his writings he wrote something that talks about that can characterize the Yakan language, because it falls under that category. And it says Brazil and Northwestern and North America had disproportionately large numbers of threatened languages and experiences few extinctions, which that means that they do have plenty of endangered languages, but they also do not see very many extinct languages, which is good. But also that means that the language has a very small number of speakers, which in a couple of years maybe you'll see languages, and you'll see that part of the world have more extinctions, and that helps linguists kind of see where languages are become more extinct. And part of that index, it shows pretty much languages everywhere, from North America to South America to Africa to Asia to Europe, everywhere. and it kind of just shows how languages really do extinct all over the world, and kind of shows the characteristics of the languages that are becoming more extinct and are more critically endangered than others, which most of them are, low population rates, languages that have been spoken a long time, for a long, long time, and also languages that have been kind of like that the people have been isolated from others, not completely, but that have been separated from others, just like the Yahan and the people that use Valo, that they're kind of like in their own little bubble. Now, there was a linguist named Thomas Bridges that tried to save Yahan years ago, and he actually made a dictionary from English to Yahan, from Yahan to English. I'm sorry. And although he made it, I want to say maybe 50 years ago, it did help kind of save the language for a little bit, although there's still just one fluent speaker left by the name of Cristina Calderon. Um, Dictionaries like that are what helps languages still stay alive, because these linguists still see that people can, especially if that language can take up another language and just have that one as a secondary language, and therefore just keep the language going for more generations and have the language being continuous instead of just extinct. Now, for example, the similarities of the Yahan and the Valo language are really similar because they're both similar to the people that use those languages. I'm sorry, really similar because those people really just grew up around bodies of water, which is what I meant by having the kind of the languages isolated. They grew up near bodies of water, and Ushuaia, Argentina, they grew up near a lake which is called the Land of Fire, and then Vanuatu, of course, it's a series of islands, so near bodies of water. Also, both languages only have one more fluent speaker, and Yahan, her name is Cristina Calderon, and the fluent speaker of Valo was not able to identify his or her name, but they are located in Vanuatu. Now, both of these people, you decided to go through a language shift, or they went through a language shift, and the people that spoke Yahan shifted towards the Spanish language, which is the first language in Argentina, which is the land where they're from, and the people that used Valo shifted to Wotlab, which is another languages, also relatively small but bigger than the Valo languages, and actually also in Vanuatu. Not the main language, but it's a language that more people use there, and that it's used by more people around, and has helped them better with communications and all that. Now, for example, there are these two languages are not just the only ones that have gone extinct, and are really not the only ones that are going to go extinct. There's also many languages, just like here in Texas or in the United States and Mexico. Languages go extinct every single day. They go extinct once every 2 weeks, and there's every single day languages lose their amount of speakers, and more languages like English and Spanish and English get more speakers by the day. So one thing I would like for you guys to do is just identify a small language here in our area, like El Paso. Maybe go to a native reservation or look into them, and you'll see that they have small languages. And I would like for you guys to just find one of those small languages and just put it in the reply section of the video on Blackboard, and we'll see what we can do for that language. Thank you.